Hello, and welcome to the Comedian's Paradise. This is the podcast where we speak to mavericks, innovators, and fascinating people, and crazy people from the world of entertainment. Now, today's guest is an absolute wonder. He is a man who is a master of many different fields. He's an actor, he's a director, he produces many different comedy sketches, shows, and he's got many more things in the pipeline. He is a man that is I knew from Guildhall, and he's a man with so many stories to tell, and you're gonna absolutely love him. Please welcome the brilliant, the amazing Tom Lincoln.
Wow. Thank you, Marvin. Oh my goodness. Oh, I feel I'm ready to go to bed and call it a day after that. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Here's your award, Tom.
I accept. I accept. I'd like to thank
Philippe, Carlo, Tom Fox.
my parents, God, Marvin. You know
Oh,
who you are.
it's all right. And like, it's a pleasure to have you here, Tom. Like, tell us a bit, like, for anyone that's here now and is like a scientist and like, oh my God, Tom Lincoln, that's such a cool name. How, who is he and how did he become an actor, director, and a clown?
Wow. Wow. The hype, the man, the myth, the legend. Um, Hello everyone, and thank you, Marvin. Yeah, so a little about me. And my journey through entertainment, I suppose, into the entertainment industry. So I trained as an actor originally at Guildhall, and I graduated in 2013. And I came out and I immediately kind of began teaching at Guildhall still and directing back there and sitting on their audition panel for new students. And I would, teach the students in the summer course, and that went on for a few years. And then, but after drama school as an actor, you're just suddenly out and on, and you're sitting in your pants on the sofa, and it's Tuesday, and you don't know what you're going to do next, and you're waiting for an audition. And I always thought I'll turn my mind to trying to do to build, that traditional thing of an actor. They go and they work in a restaurant or at a bar or something. And I was sort of, let me try and make money on the side doing something relevant to, you know, what I want to do, which is be an actor, a filmmaker. And so I tried to start a youth theater at one point. I did like freelance kind of tuition for people trying to get into drama school, bits and bobs, all kinds of stuff. I taught like kids drama. That was a disaster. Yeah. And then I found, yeah, because you just slowly, it's a grind, waiting and just waiting for that next acting job, and trying not to value your self-worth against how well you're doing against this thing that you're pursuing. And and then, yeah, a few years back I thought, right, I really want to commit to film and screen acting. So I started learning about directing and writing and videography, and I bought a camera and I taught myself editing, and I went and made bits and bobs, all kinds of different scenes. And then that's kind of led to me being now a kind of writer director. And I've made some short films that I've done all right. I've made a TV pilot, and I'm just on that treadmill now of making the next project and the next project, as well as, of course, still being an actor for hire.
Do you, have you had moments where you hear about player managers at football teams? Have you done that in like in terms of your entertainment career? Like you've been a director and an actor for one thing.
Yeah, I did that for something I made last year, actually. There was I got a part in this. I was cast in this project, first of all. It's a comedy about an improv class, a community improv class, and I got the role as this guy in it who was a bit of a rude boy. Um, and
Oh,
yeah, it felt a little bit out of my range, but I made them laugh in the audition, got the job. And then the director fell out of the project, And I just kind of had one of my short films out that did quite well. And I said to the team, I think I know how to direct this. This is an ensemble piece. It had like 7, 8 actors because it's all the various people that go into the class. I think I can direct this. Here's something I've done. And it was a big step for me because it would have been the first thing as a director where someone else is hiring me. I'm not like self-producing, self-funding. And they went for it and they said, do you still want to be in it? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. But Ben Stiller does it. I can do it. And I did. And it was, I just thought I'll just prep it so much. And it was tough. It was so tough because it was a 3-day shoot and all of the scenes were, I had to be in them as an actor because it's like a scene of an improv class where we have 2 cameras and it's looking at everyone in the class as they're playing games and doing stuff. So then I couldn't watch on the monitor and see. So it was just, but fortunately, I had a really amazing crew and kind of assistant director who was looking at the screen that I trusted. But yeah, it was really stressful, and I'm not sure if I'm in a hurry to do it again.
But it was because it was stressful and difficult being both. I mean, it's hard enough being an actor because you have to learn all the lines and you have to get all the techniques or whatever right, and you got to also, but being director as well. I mean, you got to do. I mean, yeah, how was that? Like doing 2 people's jobs at once. My
Oh
God.
man, it was just so stressful. And on the 3rd day of the shoot, the first AD went home sick. So then I had to wear 3 hats, where I had to also be like keeping an eye on the schedule and moving the shots forward and keeping everyone quiet. It was, it's such an important role, that first AD role. They're basically like the boss of the set, so that the director can just think about the performances. So yeah, it was just a drain. It was just so tiring, and I just had to kind of, when the take started, give everything to my performance, keep a 5% of an eye on the other actors whilst I was watching, and then if anything, just put a lot of trust in who I had around as a crew. And that's the lovely thing as a director, when on things that I've directed, when it's going all well, you're just sitting there. You're just sitting there, and there's this team kind of in operation around you, and all you have to do is just look at what's happening and think, okay, is there anything I can suggest to the actors to give their performance a different edge, or get something else out of them that will give us another option. But yeah, in a nutshell, it was it was so stressful, but it came out all right. It was all okay. But if I was going to do something again that I acted in, it would be something like, I would give myself just a small part in, so that I'm directing all the other scenes, and then there are just a handful of scenes where I'm in, not something like this, which is so ensemble based, where I have to be in all the scenes. Yeah.
What was it that what did you gain from doing both? Like what was the because often I think definitely it is true with a lot of the things, the most painful experiences often teach us the most.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's tricky. Like, my main lesson was like, just don't do it. Don't do it again.
That's the lesson.
That's the lesson. Don't do it. Don't do it again on such when there's something there. Be realistic about what, because something's gonna suffer, and looking back at some of the shots that we got, like for example, a lot of the shots, to my mind, were very close up, framed in very close. And I felt like if I was in the director's chair and just seeing everything on the monitor, I would have been able to just say to the camera man, can you just generally come out a little bit? We don't need to be so, because that's a bit of a camera choice. If you're close in on everything, it feels a bit claustrophobic and you're missing the kind of wider background. But then, you know, we had all these close shots, and that led to a kind of, that claustrophobic feeling was communicative of the fact that the class was a disaster and going wrong, and that was what a lot of the comedy was coming from. So yeah, yeah, you can always turn a failure or a shortcoming into a success or what seems like a choice in the edit. That's the kind of the fun of the edit. But yeah, that's that and that. But I don't try. I try not to be a perfectionist, and I try just not to get hung up on anything that's going wrong or has gone wrong. I really follow the mantra of quantity, not quality. Uh, which is, you know, the perfectionist nightmare. But if you concentrate on the quantity, if I just bang out as many projects as I can make, in 10 years' time, I'll look back on everything I'm making now and I might hate it, you know? No one's seen Steven Spielberg's early short films, you know, but they remember the breakthrough film. So you know, just keep on churning out, and I think probably you might find the parallel as a comedian. You
Yeah.
know, just keep showing up to nights. You can't help but get better across the years, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Because if you focus too much on perfection, you don't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's more, you learn more through taking the action. And a lot of things that you think are good or that you think are going to be this way often turn out the other way. And it surprises you what actually will work.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just bang it out and and it might suck, but hey, you're going forward. You're moving forward.
But just do your best and pump things out.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, absolutely.
it's on the flip side of that. Have you had a few things where you're like, nah, I should have spent a bit more, or I should have like
Yeah, yeah, the latest film that I'm just about finishing now, and I filmed it a year ago in September. It's a, and we budgeted for a 1 day shoot because I was self-funding it, and I just wanted, you know, it's twice as expensive everything if you've got to hire everyone to come for a second day. Um, and then we saw what came through in the edit, and I just thought to myself, oh, damn, I should have gone, we should have gone for a second day because it would have allowed more time to settle in for everyone, for us to take more time over the shots. Like on that first day, there was a camera problem, one of the fixings on the camera broke, so that we had to shoot with a kind of like a you know, slightly inferior camera, um just for the ease of like easing into the performance, for catching something that if I wasn't like busy holding a light myself because we were on like a kind of like all trying to do different roles, if I was just concentrating on the performance. So yeah, that's definitely a recent thing that comes to mind, but that's, you know, that's the learning curve. Take more time if you can.
and what was it like? So I spoke to James from our like clown class, and he talks
Mm.
about like how traditional acting is so different to like what you do in Goliath, in terms of
Mm.
like you just trust the impulse and acting in something that's very technical. Like
Mm.
what led you to go to a school with a drunken Frenchman that tells you that you're shit?
Um, very good question. Who wants to submit themselves to that kind of punishment? I agree. It's aside from the masochist in me. Like so I'm a closet wannabe stand-up comedian for a start. Like I've always had one eye on comedy as an actor, but I trained as an actor. And to me, and maybe this is like a slightly different conversation, like I've just never had the courage. Like I was listening to your journey, you know, when you graduated, you just put yourself up to a night and you went and you
Yeah.
invited your parents. Hilarious.
Yes, I
That's
don't know what.
hilarious. And to your first comedy night, but that's great. It's lovely. And you just fucking did it. And I have so much admiration for any comedian that steps forward and takes that step. Or amazing. And I've never done it, but I've always like I'm a stand-up comedy geek, and I harbor it. So part of it is like looking at I've looked at a couple of comedians and noticed that they've gone to Gaulier. And so ever since, and these performers keep cropping up that I go, oh, they're amazing. And then I see on their CV Gaulier. So then I'm like, I got it in my mind a few years ago. I
Yeah.
really should go and do that be shouted at by a drunk Frenchman thing. And then I booked it and went. So yeah, and I think any kind of training's great, but as an actor, in recent years. I think because I've been out for about 10 years now, and I started just doing like theatre jobs and any roles that I can get. But in the last few years, I keep getting comedy roles. And I feel like, is this the industry's way of telling me, hey, you're funny, you can do this? Like, and so then I started adjusting my approach to like concentrate on getting comedy roles. And then I thought, well, I need to do anything that sharpens my comedy skills. And if you know, and all roads point to Gaulier as a tool to that end.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a bit like, in social media marketing, they always say that you got to find your niche and you got to do
Mm.
this and that. You got to pick your ideal audience member. You're not going to find that out until you give it a shot. But I've tried doing that so many times, like theorizing this, theorizing that, and it's never worked. The only time it has worked is where I've just gone out there, try lots of different things, except that most shit won't work, but you only need one thing to work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. What do they got? I think they call it in marketing split, something like split something analysis. And I've got a friend who's in marketing, and I've always that it's like when they get 20 different versions of a Facebook ad, or like the very successful presidential campaigns or election campaigns. They do 20 different versions, and then they get the analytics back, and then they do the 10 best ones, and they get the analytics back, and then five, and then they get their one that's like, oh my god, for whatever reason this one kills it. Maybe it's the picture of the puppy. um
Yeah,
yeah.
it's yeah, it's just, and that's what led you to being comedy. Like, it wasn't something that you. I mean, you've always liked comedy and all that, but it's not some. It's just something that fell to you rather than.
Yeah, I just kind of got on with it. And yeah, like I loved it at drama school, and I was always, if given the option, bending towards choosing to do something funny rather than serious. And yeah, just winning those comedy jobs. And it's not, I think comedy's not easy. I always remember my drama school teachers telling me an anecdote um I think he was like a Russian guy. It was like a Russian anecdote about him saying, like, he escaped the this war, and his family died, his wife died, and his children died, and that was hard. But comedy's harder. you know, it's it's the hardest thing in the world. So I think it's, yeah, if you've got a little flame for it, then that's, yeah, something you should pursue.
Yeah, it's a lot of comedians say that comedy is supposed to be the hardest thing in showbiz, but I don't know. Like, you're not trying it in all three industries at once, so you can't really say that statement. But I mean, there is similarities in comedy. If you get if the right person sees you at the right time in Edinburgh, you get picked up and your career can really take off. But I mean, it's the same supposedly in acting as well. Like, you get one big movie and you're sorted for life.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think um I see comedy actors people that can do comedy that then go and do drama.
Yeah,
But you don't necessarily see drama actors or people that have had great success. Not, there are a lot of actors that do drama but can't do comedy. But if you can do comedy, you can do drama. I feel personally.
why is that? Because I mean, I feel like Walter White. I mean, I used to love him in Malcolm in the Middle,
Hmm.
but he was able to play this fantastic character of Walter White. And
Mm. Why is that? I think that ah, it's a really tricky question, and I don't know. I don't know. Something about like comedy is, an understanding. I don't know. It kind of gets a bit wanky, but there's something about, to be funny, it's about understanding the human condition in a deep way, and timing and instincts. There's just a lot of instincts, and here's one kind of salient point. I think that you can't be funny unless you're truthful, unless you're really truthful. And if you miss that level of naturalism and honesty, I mean, yeah, of course, there's the comedy of the absurd, but if you're not spot on honest and truthful in your performance, it's just not funny. That's why I think something like The Office is so good, and that you believe it, you buy it. But if you don't buy the truth, so an actor like Steve Carell, he he's so he's so truthful. He's so funny. And if you can do naturalistic truth, then going into something serious is easier because you only have to be truthful. You don't have to be truthful and funny. You
Ah, okay.
just have to be truthful and
And
maybe
the
cry. Crying's difficult.
uh,
Different challenge.
unless you get kicked in the balls.
Yeah. You kind of, what's it, that old thing of like cutting a hole in your pocket so that you can pull your leg hairs.
Oh, I've not tried that.
Yeah, that's that's an unusual way.
Do you know anyone who does that?
I've never heard of anyone that does it, but you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. And then, or on movie sets, on big movie sets, they've got these like sticks that are like menthol sticks that they call them tear sticks, I think, and they'll wave them under your nose before a take, and they'll make you tear up.
I'll be honest. You know that thing that we used to shove up our nose when we were in Guildhall? The those particular test kits. That thing when you shove it up their nose, I cried a few times shoving that thing up there. That
There you go.
normally it's not that bad. But their kits, I don't know what's wrong with them. It felt like you were serving a needle up there, and that made me cry loads of times.
Well, what a blessing should you ever need to do a serious drama that you've got your you've got your you've got your path, you've got your tool. They make me sneeze, so it wouldn't help me.
They made me do both.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
blessing.
I do miss that school in some respects, but in some respects it's like it's onwards and upwards.
Yeah. What do you miss?
What do I miss about it? Well, one of the things that I missed was certain things that I figured out now that I would like to try again and figure out like later on. I missed the community type of thing that often goes on there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was lovely for me. It was the first time, it was a taste of drama school, which I haven't had for years and years, uh,
Ah.
which is lovely.
Oh, so it's the same sort of thing in drama schools that you got people that like, yo, I'm the fucking top dog, G, like we're gonna hang out down here, yeah. You're gonna come round with us and like chill, yeah. What?
I think everyone's
No.
everyone's drama school experience is unique, but yeah. But yeah, the community feeling and vibe, and you're with 25 people or so that you're with, trying to do the best you can do for a period of time, showing up every day, sharing your
Yeah.
failures, celebrating your successes, and just kind of getting there together.
Yeah.
It's a vibe.
It's a bit like, yeah. It's quite intense, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, some drama schools got a tricky um reputation as like, it strips you down to build you back up again. I don't know if you've heard that. And
Yeah.
let's find, but I don't know, the way I would phrase it is that they're just helping you, like, especially, well, I guess my training in the first year, they're trying to help you find a position of neutrality, like physically, for instance. You've got all of this tension in your body, you know upright shoulders, tight shoulders, and you swing one arm more than the other arm, and you can't stand in a way that's neutral. And then you walk on a stage with all of that tension, and without you helping it, the audience immediately read into your character and
Um,
see you, because you, for who you are before you've even opened your mouth. So you, as an actor, you've got to find a neutrality, so that then when you're creating a character, you're choosing the tensions. You're choosing to be to have your chest puffed out because you're a macho proud guy, or to walk with a swagger or a kind of a sexy little, you're the boss of sending the message. You're not, and you're doing it on a neutral base.
Hmm.
So that's that's for instance kind of what I think you're focusing on, and emotionally just trying to. But yeah, I don't know. It's stressful. It's hormone fueled, and but I had a lot of fun.
Is acting a bit like, I don't know, where supposing like you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And me or you were trying to play him.
Mm.
Like it'll be based, what makes acting different and very diverse is that it's always, people think that you're trying to be someone else, but in a lot of film acting is when you're trying, it's your interpretation of the character and like how you would feel if you were that person rather than trying to be that person, which is parody. People mistake parody for acting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think you have different kinds of actors. You have actors that act from self. Like Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage in every film he does. Even I watched a trailer for a film that
Oh
he's
God.
that he's actually plays Nicolas Cage in it. Which is great. I love him. But he's Nick Cage in every film. But then you've got a character actor like Johnny Depp that tries to bring a different persona and different physicality. And I don't think either is better or worse, but it's just different actors working with what they've got.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, just whatever works for it. It's you're saying that acting is a bit like when you're going down the high street in Oxford Street, there's lots of restaurants to choose from, and it's what your preference is.
It's what your preference is. It's yeah, if what suits your intolerances and your allergies.
Yes, like yeah. So
Well,
yeah, vegan actors are different to meat eater actors, of course.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. God, yeah, you could extend this metaphor indefinitely, I'm sure.
Now, um, one of the, so one of the things that is the thought that's just occurred to me now when you say about comedy and acting, one of the reasons maybe why people, well, some of the comedy actors are able to do lots of do well in other acting roles is because they're more comfortable being vulnerable and being sensitive and being okay with the weaknesses and quirks of themselves, which are what make people interesting than perhaps someone who is too held back.
Mm. Yeah, that's really, I think the way you've put that is uh very astute. I think that's spot on. Yeah.
But so many of, I mean, even in the Goalie school, I mean, a lot of us loose things a bit, but I did notice that there are quite a number that a lot of people are still quite held back, still quite not willing to embrace the vulnerabilities and the faults in themselves. And
Mm.
we're all like that to an extent. We all wanna, we're not like, look, this is what's fucked up about me. So what? That's what we should do more of. But we're all like,
Mm. Yeah, totally. Totally. It's just yeah, and I think that's just the kind of the journey of the performer, I guess, is to kind of keep putting yourself out there and keep and being honest with yourself. Was I vulnerable? And something on this that's interesting is that actors can very quickly find themselves in habits that they can get away with. Like there were funny, like on that course, for instance, there were people that performed, like in the final day when we got to see performances from the other
yeah,
group. I could see people that I could see, oh, you're a good performer, and but they're falling back on their kind of like their habits and things that they know work for them, and but they're not being vulnerable. It's kind of a tricky point that I'm trying to articulate, but it's like they've just got a certain smoothness and a certain kind of um they're a cool operator, but they're not really out of their putting themselves out of their comfort zone.
yeah.
They're just doing what they know works, what they know has got laughs. And it's like, yeah, and I don't know, it's not necessarily bad. Like they might carry, there are actors I think that go through their whole careers just doing what works, but it's different maybe to put to try and be, like you say, like really vulnerable and be willing to fail and then learn and then kind of find something completely different that
Hmm.
that you might not that you might not have done if you were just relying on your well-worn tricks. Maybe there's a kind of, does that translate in stand-up, like stand-up comedians that don't push advance?
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I noticed that clowns do better in that you're willing to push yourself a bit more and take risks. In comedy, they say it means, I mean, a really great comic like
Yeah.
Kurt, like he's right at the top of the tree, um, but he is controversial in some circles. Well, I won't say.
Okay.
Uh, but he they're very great performers in the room, but ones that aren't quite there often. Stand-up comedy is a very much a writing discipline, more
Mm.
so than any other type of performing arts. But the real great ones like Sean Walsh and some of the others, they're great performers as well. But there's a lot, most are writers. And then there's a good number that are just good performers, but they're terrible writers.
Yeah, absolutely. I read Stuart Lee's book, or one of his books earlier this year, and that really, in this book he's got his full transcripts of three comedy sets that he did, and that
Yeah.
really drove home to me. Oh my God, it's and he makes a joke out of it during his sets. He's like, I've written this bit right now and this bit and I've written this that I'm saying now, and then this, and then blah 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 blah. I wrote that. So yeah, it's the art of writing and then making it seem like it's made up, right?
Well, it's a funny thing with him. He breaks down the wall as well, doesn't he? Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like he's willing to take the piss and have a laugh and say, "Oh, you're supposed to laugh." Yeah, he breaks the wall. Whilst a lot of some comics won't go through that, but he likes to do that a lot. He's
Yeah.
known for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just innovating and surging. And I think that's probably what keeps his fans faithful, rather than a comedian that might just kind of like settle and go, okay, this kind of joke does well, and I'm gonna sell a tour on this. Um, but maybe it's a bit less vulnerable, a bit less inspiring.
It's also an interesting point because some I hear people say, "Oh, they watch a TV comic and they watch some other comic that's been going for 10, 15 years, who's headlining all the big clubs, and they say that the other one was better." Yeah, I mean, they may be better, but the famous one always has to come up with new material and has to do
Yeah.
that. Sometimes, if you're just a top pro who's been going for 15 years, you can use the same joke and again because you're not being on TV and no one's seen it.
Hmm.
And does that make you a better comic than I don't know because you're not pushing yourself, you're not innovating. But then again, there are lots of. There's a comic called Mr. C who I had on the podcast. Like, he's a headliner on like the mainstream and the black circuit, and he says you got to treat comedy like it's your lifelong partner.
Hmm.
Like in terms of you got to bring new flowers to this relationship. Don't call her your missus or this and that. Give her a title. Keep the relationship fresh, and that way you always be in love with comedy, and comedy always be in love with you. If you turn it into a job, like some comics who do the same thing again and again, they don't innovate. It gets boring for you, and people can sense the energy, and then like either you have to quit because you're not funny anymore, or the industry gets rid of you.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep. That makes a lot of sense. It sounds like good advice. And for your personal relationships with your girlfriend.
Yeah,
Partner. Yeah. If you're not growing, you're dying. Is
that's
it?
that's pretty much, isn't it? And
Yeah,
then tennis.
that's my mantra. Yeah.
One of the so yeah, and you're welcome to do a gig at my shows if you want.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I have a friend who's kind of started breaking through on the comedy circuit. You might know her. She actually went to Gaulier, and her show is kind of quite stand-up show is kind of clowny. Um and her name is just kind of completely gone out of my head, but I'll remember it later. And she's agreed to kind of mentor me a little bit about getting like a 5 minute set together. So yeah, it's kind of It's something that I would love to do. I would love to put 5 minute, write a 5 minute thing. But counter to that, I found over the years that you've got to be, as a self-employed, you've got to be really judicious with what you put your energy into. And, so many times I've kind of gone, oh yeah, I'll do this. I'll start a youth theatre and I'll teach and I'll do this and I'll do that. And then I realize I've got my energy's going in 6 different directions. So for now, I'm quite happy to just be right. I'm acting and I'm doing my directing, making screen opportunities. So that's where comedies, my stand-up comedian career is on the shelf, but one day
Let's see.
I get the balls.
Here they are. No.
Thank you.
But what's the thing that would I ask you on this? Yeah. So have you heard of a YouTube channel called The Critical Drinker?
No.
So he's a Scottish guy who reviews a lot of films. So I'll show you maybe a snippet and I'll see what you think of him.
Cool.
Mate. But he's one of my favorite YouTubers in terms of, and I found him out through trigonometry. But so here he is now. Can you hear it?
After the disaster
Yes.
penultimate episode of Rings of Power that somehow made Galadriel even less likable than before, teased the deaths of characters that anyone with even the most basic knowledge of Lord of the Rings knows are absolutely not dead, unmasked the not hobbits as a group of murderous psychopaths, demonstrated that Númenóreans have the ability to teleport anywhere on Middle-earth within a matter of hours, gave us an origin story for Mount Doom, and whatever the fuck these things are meant to be. I think said all I had to say about this ridiculous shit show. I mean, really, at this point, how much more we think? How much more damage could it do to Tolkien's legacy? It would be like bulldozing the burned-out remains of a gutted building that insurance inspectors couldn't quite prove was intentionally set on fire. So imagine my shock when I was happily vacationing in New York City, doing my best to avoid the plague-carrying hobos and those weird drain covers that are always belching clouds of foul-smelling steam, like there's a fucking undiscovered volcano beneath Manhattan Island, when I finally caught the season finale.
Come back to me, Galadriel.
Look at me! Good fucking God. Just when I think this show's finally hit rock bottom, there it goes, digging ever deeper into the inky darkness of creative oblivion. Well, it seems they've awoken their very own drunken Balrog with this one, and I'm here to spread fiery destruction over the Rings of Power one last time before I...
So
Brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant. I'm gonna add
he's
him.
he's very honest and like he gives good reviews and I trust them. Like he gave a great review on Top Gun, which I feel
One of the great things
Maverick.
about movies is that not only...
Sorry, I'm just subscribing to him myself.
But yeah, he's great. Like and what was the point that I was getting at? I was
Who can beat
saying,
a scathing Scottish accent as well for insults?
I could, yes.
Yeah, love it.
But well, yeah, he made me think of like in terms of filming and that, and a question that, as an outsider to the film world, like what is more important, the performance or the writing, in terms of like when you're producing a good program?
It's a really good question. So as an actor, it's a conversation that's been going on since I've been at drama school, is the skill to be able to take bad writing and make it seem really good. By doing something called, like, for instance, acting around the lines. So you get, and we were in third year, like, deliberately given a really badly written script, because often you do, especially, you go to for these American shows and it's just poor. It's just poor writing, but it's commissioned and it's going through, and it's like some like next what further cop drama or medical drama, and it's just like that scene that you've seen 1,000 times before, but you have to make it seem fresh, newly coined thoughts, and so it's like, so you have this stupid line, and then you've got to like, what do you do to create that kind of feeling before you say the line, and then the ums and the ahs. So I guess I'm saying you can make bad writing come across as good if you're a good enough actor, and you can take good writing and obviously make it bad if you're not a good actor. So which one's more important? It's tricky, but if I had to choose, I would say I'd take, I think, the people get away with bad acting a lot more on if something's good, well written. If something's well written and exciting, you'll forgive performances in it that are a bit dodgy. But yeah, I don't know. Don't make me choose, man. It's tough. Can the writing and acting just both be great, please? Thank you.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm intrigued because I feel because so much work goes into a lot of filming productions and TV productions. I'm guessing it only takes little things for them to go badly, and it's not in your control as well. Some things that may be a pile of shit will do well, like Transformers. So many people have called them terrible, but yet they've done very well at the box office. I don't know why Transformers are called crap. I don't mind them. But...
Yeah. And then I think as well, you've got a lot of actors that can't really they don't bring much to roles, but they have model-esque looks, and they're just like staggeringly beautiful. And so you don't care that they don't, you're not filled with awe at their acting, believability, because they're just pretty, they're just screen candy. Yeah. So yeah, they just get along, they get by, because people are building more. They're like, it's more about the look of the show and having these actors that look amazing and are beautiful, because we just like, something in us just likes watching beautiful people, and the bar just gets lowered for whether or not it's truthful. And yeah, which isn't great, but hey,
it is what it is.
It is what it is, and people watch it and it's trash, and they don't care that much, because they're not looking for something thought-provoking. They just want some kind of pop, take their mind off something kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, progressives and people that are a lot of people will get very annoyed about that, but there's a lot of things that we got to accept that aren't very nice.
Yeah, and you just, it's just a part of it, and you get, acting. That's something that I found as an actor coming out of drama school and looking at the actors that have done well. It's not necessarily in the industry a meritocracy. The best actors, the ones that are staggering, don't necessarily rise to the top, but you see these actors that have really good looks and have that commercial, picturesque, just like model look, and they're so as a performer, but they get by, they get roles, so that's okay.
God, it must be when you're at that level, like Jennifer Lawrence or someone that's like really big, like Tom Hardy. How must they rein in their ego, and how do they remain like grounded when they got so many people? I mean, look at Conor McGregor. I think before he had this big success, he was an all right person, but since he's had the big money and the big success, he's gone completely down the drain.
Yeah. The what do you call it? The modern human mind isn't evolved for that level of attention and success and treatment from everyone. I'm sure, it would turn anyone crazy. But that's something I kind of, that's something that I've learned from an actor called Jack Plotnick, who does a lot of training and teaching, and he's got this amazing guide that I recommend any actor to kind of like download. It's a free guide, and he talks about having your like mental health framework in place, hopefully before you get successful, because like if you hit it big and you've still got the mind of a child, it's like a footballer getting paid 300 grand a week. you're just not prepared to responsibly spend that amount of money and have the trappings of success, and it'll just drive you mad, and you'll become an egomaniac and drugs and alcohol and God knows what. So yeah, so that's something I reassure myself with. I'm just taking my time building my mental health framework before I have my success.
Can I borrow it?
No, you're doing the same. You're doing the same.
But I think, yeah, no, I think it's a big, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that we would be different. Like if we had this conversation a year or two and one of us hit it really, really big, it would be impossible for us not to change to some degree, to adapt to the situation. We
God,
would
yeah.
change. We
Yeah,
would.
but absolutely. But I'd be glad that I had that success now compared with me 10 years ago.
Oh
And
yeah.
like what I've been through in the last 10 years in terms of like growth and going through issues and stuff. Because if it was 10 years ago, oh my God, forget about it. Because and then you get actors that burn, that cause big dramas and issues and burn their bridges, and they have a couple of minutes of success, but ultimately they become blacklisted because they're a liability.
So that would be like Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, there's a few about, right? There's a few about. Yeah, I just watched a documentary about. I was watching it about the guy from who was the kid in Flight of the Navigator, like child actors. It happens to, and they, you're not equipped as a child to have success, like Macaulay Culkin, right? You fall prey to drugs and alcohol, and yeah.
He seems to be okay now, but I think he went through quite a dodgy spell, and he's lucky to be on the other side, isn't he?
Yeah, which I think that kind of tells you what you need to know about the maturity and the people that you probably need to have around you, and even with that, I think you're going to have to be lucky to not like you say, go a bit loopy.
What do you make of like the people on Stranger Things or Cobra Kai or like Game of Thrones? What do you think of those actresses and actors? What,
I think they're all great. I think, yeah. Well, did you say Game of Thrones? I have.
like, so there's a few shows that are quite big at the moment, like Game of Thrones before, like
Yeah.
with you had Maisie Williams, Sophie Turner, and then you got Stranger Things now with a lot of young actors that are now becoming adults, and then you got Cobra Kai, where a lot of kids started up young, now they're becoming adults, and it's
Yeah.
to me, I'm interested to see what happens to them, like
Yeah.
because
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole new generation, like a what do you call it? They call it a brat pack, I think, or and yeah, but I think they're great actors in terms of, I don't think you'd have the success that those shows are having, like if they weren't really great. Or at least pulling it off, to a level.
yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens to them in a few, like because we're more aware of things. Let's see what happens to them.
Yeah, like then maybe the youth of today are more sensitive to mental health and less into alcohol, and yeah, they're kind of, you look at the actors of yesteryear, they were like, I can't remember, there's a book about them, but like Oliver Reed and Olivier, and there's like a notorious group of like theater actors that were big in the kind of 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they were all alcoholics, and they'd drink before shows and go on drunk, and the audience would shout, "You're drunk," and they'd be like, and and they would notoriously badly behaving actors and just getting on with it, compared to nowadays where the actor, you've got to have a six-pack, and every actor does yoga and is like, they're organized admin machines and really well behaved and working out. So it's like, yeah, the pedigree is evolving, just like footballers. Footballers that have Sunday dinners and fry-ups, and nowadays they've got the private chefs and careful nutrition. So yeah, the modern professional evolves.
Yeah, that's maybe you're famous robot actors.
yeah, and then you look at that actually and go, well, what did that former generation of actors, did they have a certain swagger that modern actors don't have, because the modern actors are so well behaved, and and then you look at some actors that aren't very well behaved, that are kind of like or don't seem it, like Joaquin Phoenix, who kind of like gets up to all kinds of tricks, and Shia LaBeouf. They're like naughtier end of actors, and they've got this kind of what I call chutzpah that makes them, a bit more, not like Henry Cavill. Sorry, Henry Cavill, but he's the guy that did Superman, isn't he? Yeah, I've got his name right. But yeah, they're like, you can see he's a well-behaved looking guy. I think he's got his nutrition in check.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, yeah, he's brilliant, isn't he? And he's yeah, I hear he's back into Superman, and he's left The Witcher now. So
Yeah, but I think he lacks, for me as an actor, any like the charm of an actor that's a bit naughtier, that's
yeah,
a bit more cheeky, or has a little something. He's very, yeah, Superman. You're getting a meat and two veg.
me too. I'm pretty sure when no one's looking or all of that, I think he's probably when he was in the Superman days, he was probably a bit of a playboy, and I reckon, like, quietly though, I reckon he should be the next James Bond, and he's like quietly being the bad boy, but he
Okay.
puts on the front.
I hope
I
so.
don't know.
I hope
Hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah, he's absolutely, yeah, he's playboy of the Western world. We don't know it. The
Yeah,
ultimate trick, the ultimate secret.
yeah, no, he's great. Um, if what's been like your maddest, scariest moment in entertainment? What's been something that's really been maddest, scariest moment that makes you laugh now? What's something that's completely out of the ordinary? Like, did you see someone get kicked in the balls whilst you're on set? Did you see someone get slapped? What happened?
I don't like honestly, the best answer that comes to mind, maddest and scariest for me personally, was my first day at Gaulier, getting up
Oh,
and trying to be funny. Get up, be funny. If you're funny, you get a point. If you're not funny, we beat the drum and you sit down. I'll insult you and then you sit down. And that was fucking, and I just throw myself in, and with gusto, and I did, and I got up, and you're bricking yourself, and I think I made a lot of noise, and I moved around a lot, and no one laughed. And it was painful. And I look back and laugh, but it was like, yeah. And then he said, you were so unfunny, no complicity, you push, it is not for us, and just, insulted me. Where your chair is, okay, use it.
yes, he did say that.
And yeah, but hey, that's what I needed to do, to then sit there and then look at other people, get some clues from other people as to how to play the game.
Yeah, Piotr was the big man.
Yeah, he had great success.
But yeah, and what was it like when you found out that the other Tom, like, everyone called you New Tom, but like Tommy Camp had COVID, and then you had to go by yourself. What was that like when you found that out?
Yeah, that was like, dude, yeah. So that was the day of the final showcase of the 3 weeks that was going to be to the other class of the whole year, and we'd worked and rehearsed on a show, on our performance, our final performance. Be funny, show everything that you've learned, and then we come in to rehearse early that last day, and he goes home with a positive test. And then he was like, are you going to do it? Are you going to go and do it? And I was like, I don't know, fuck. And everyone that I told was just like, are you going to do it? Are you going to go alone? And I thought, yeah, fuck it. Okay, what a gift. What a gift. And you've got to, that's that thing of kind of turning a failure into a success if you can, and hope it's a gift. And then I kind of made the decision to do the show that we'd rehearsed, but without, noting that Tommy was Well, no, noting that Tommy was not there. And yeah, oh man, I'm sure I got more laughs than I would have done if we did it together.
Whoa!
Just because, I think that kind of comes that extra spontaneity and also sympathy from the audience just through the fact of sympathy of like, it's a kind audience going, oh look, he's trying.
No, I remember it going quite well. And yeah, you never know. Yeah, that's true. You don't know what would have happened if Tommy came.
That's no comment on Tommy. It's more a
Yeah.
comment on I don't know, that just the the spontaneity of doing something and the audience knows, oh
Yeah.
my God, he's out there alone, poor bastard. But yeah, no, yeah, I was very chuffed. It went all right.
No, it went quite well. I think most of it was. I mean, yeah, I think it was all from what I remember. I think I think most of us all did quite well in that last showcase.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely, but my God, it was painful when people didn't.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
That's
I
fine.
I noticed one thing that the other class were more experimental, whilst we were more polished. I think they took bigger risks than our class. I felt they were more wild. I mean, we were creative and did lots of great things, but I felt that we were more reserved and the other class were more mental.
Yeah, they definitely had that. They had a certain mental chemistry, I think. Yeah, maybe like they're the afternoon group, so they're something about the chemistry of working in the afternoon and then probably going off drinking together.
Yeah.
Whereas we'd show up in the morning, first thing, let's do some work, and then we'd go our separate ways to have lunch and the rest of the day.
Yeah, it felt very tense. I mean, because we had to get up so early. That was.
Yeah. Who can be funny in the morning? First thing. Oh, gross.
Yeah, only Piotr. And I'm seeing him next week. Actually, he's
Oh.
doing my gig in Wimbledon.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I tell you what, when I looked at him and his performances, I was, I'm competitive, and I would sit there going, fucking hell, that guy's fucking great. Like, what is going on? And then when I found out that he was like an improv performer for 10 years, I felt a lot better.
Oh yes, me too. No, I think that definitely helps. I think that definitely is it for me. If you'd found that, oh, he's just magically talented, it would have been like, fuck.
That's what it appears like. I was looking at going, Jesus, this guy is touched by God. This is amazing what he's doing. And then it was like, okay, no, he's totally a seasoned pro. Phew. I'll sleep better.
No, he's very cool as well. And I had him on the podcast, and he was very easygoing and like,
yeah, love him.
Great guy. He said one thing though. He said that one of the things when he's doing clowning is that when you know what to expect or what it is you're trying to do, he doesn't do as well. He likes it to be unprepared and him not be just play and not know where it's going to go. And he found that's where he does better.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure because he's relying on his improvisationary muscles and instincts that way, which are very finely calibrated given his experience. Yeah. But yeah, no, I loved him, and he was really encouraging to me all week, and definitely encouraged me that last day to get up in front of everyone, which was nice.
Yeah, it was fun. I said one thing though. You know what they used to do with Guildhall? They used to bring people in from the people to come and watch the show and perform. And you know how you found out through one of my podcasts that I had my parents coming or whatever.
Yeah.
If you had your missus or any of your family come and watch you, it makes it 10 times worse. I absolutely hate it when people come and watch you. I much rather.
Well, yeah, that's why I was staggered by your parents coming along to your first gig. That seems completely unorthodox.
I wouldn't do it now. If I had that same decision now, I'd say no.
You wish you could take it back so your parents could see you in a different light.
I'm luckily I did okay, but like, it's I think it's better to not have people you're too close to perform on stage. I mean, in Guildhall it's different. We get up anyway, but like people from outside of our life out of Guildhall come in to watch us just makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah. Until you're good.
But I think, yeah, I think until, well, as long as you don't know that they're there, I think is the best thing.
Yeah, that's good. That too.
Now, if there's anything that so you've had like a colorful life, like you've had lots of things happen on your performance journey to get to where you are now. If there's any advice that you could give to any like actor that's listening now, if they're like, yo, I'm listening to this, what advice do you have, G? Or if they're like, hey, this Tommy sounds interesting. What advice? I would like to hear his final words of advice. Like what, if you're looking at younger Tom now, he has a six pack, he has 50 women in his arm, like.
I've got very clear advice, really clear. Yeah, and I tell this advice to any young actor that I meet, an actor maybe that's wanting to go to drama school, as someone that's been through it and had years since and has been chipping away and trying to get along. Just start writing your own material. You want to be an actor, be a writer too. Just do it. Like, if you can't write, talk and have a friend, record what you're talking about and have it in your ideas, and just figure it out, making your own material, bringing your own perspective, your age, your views on things, your background. The world, especially now more than ever, is looking for content, and it's easier than ever to, you don't have to learn to film. You've got a phone. You don't need a script writing software, but that can come later. You've got a piece of paper and a pen, and just get on with it and make. And like we were saying earlier, quantity over quality. If you're 18 years old or younger, okay, you can go to drama school and you'll have a great 3 years and be a better actor out of 3 years, after 3 years, but you'll come out and you'll be unemployed. And if you're lucky, if you're less than the 1%, you might start getting work that pays well and you can give up your day job. But mostly, I have actors, friends that do well. They do a few feature films a year, but they only work 20, 25 days a year. So all of that time, what a blessing to start figuring out how to write your own show, be it a clown show or a little, TikToks that you can do character videos of, or and in the process you'll start to figure as a performer what I call your vein of gold. Are you an amazing improviser? Okay, great. Then maybe you can develop some kind of comedy that you can improvise in with your friends. Do you realize that no one's doing a drama about this? Great, write it. So yeah, just make, because like I said, if you, after 10 years of making stuff, you'll know what your best kind of, what your strengths are as a performer. Are you like me, do have a strength for comedy? And you'll just be so much further along than if you're just waiting for the phone to ring. Can you be a stand-up? Can you go along and do that? Can you, just start making. Look at performers that have built their career on writing their own breaks. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who wrote Fleabag. Michaela Cole, who actually was at the year above me in drama school. She wrote Chewing Gum. So many performers that just open the doors to their careers by writing their own stuff, and those are the people who inspire me. Mike Myers, Austin Powers.
Oh,
and you think about it, God, what a blessing that Mike Myers didn't get a big break in someone else's comedy and then went on and had a career, just doing bit parts and stuff. No, he made his own stuff, and then we've got Austin Powers and all the other stuff that he does. So those are my role models. There's only the only obstacles to that are, fear, I guess, and self-discipline, which which took me a long time to get over. Took me until I was in my 30s. So if you're 18 and 19, 20, and you can start now, just think where you'll be when you're 35. You'll have your own production company, and you'll be commissioning your dramas and comedies and all that, maybe, if you want.
Yeah, so listen up, guys.
Yeah, guys. Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say nothing.
But no, that's a great bit of that's yeah. But do you when you it's funny in it, they always say that's a bit that's true in it. Like you learn like there's things that you wish you knew when you were younger, but then you wouldn't have learned that lesson, or you wouldn't be where you are if you didn't make that mistake.
Yeah. Go fail. Go fail 20 times. Keep failing.
Now, if people want to say nothing, what no. If they want to, if someone's listening in and they want to find out about you, what is the best way to find out about you? Is it on Tinder? Is it on, I don't know, Hooters? Is it on, I don't know, TikTok?
I've got an Instagram account which is at Sir Tom Lincoln, and there's you can find out all about me, and there's links to all of my work there. So come check me out. Let's be friends.